as promised, we wanted to give you some information about workspace setup. So without further ado, here we go. This is my little workspace setup. As you can see, it's probably like maybe what you have at home, not very organized and cluttered. So, we work with what we have, okay? But there are a couple of key things we should be aware of when we're talking about our workspace. We want to make it the most efficient that we can so that our body can stay in decent alignment. So, a lot of us, we have this kind of a posture. We kind of stand where we either have too big of an arch or too big of a curve. Or when we're sitting, we are hunched completely over our desk. And the goal for what we're trying to do is to really get us sitting nice and straight, where we're almost at this nice L position. If you look at this particular position, this computer monitor is a little too low. So we'll talk about that a little bit more. And I want to show you another one before we get started. You see in this picture, you see, again, they're curved a little too much. They're looking too low. But what's good about this is the seat height is pretty good. The hips are a little higher than the knees, so that's good. But he doesn't have back support. He's really not making good use of the back support. Here, this person's making really nice use of the back support. So we're going to try to mimic that as best as we can with the tools that we have. Ideally, in this picture, he has armrests, and the armrests are coming up and supporting him. Here he doesn't, but you work with what you have. So we're going to work with what we have. My particular chair does not have armrests. This particular chair does have armrests. So, if I'm sitting in this chair, if I'm all the way back here, my feet don't even touch the ground. Okay, so I could lower this chair, okay, or I could come forward on the chair, but as I come forward on that particular chair, I now have no support at my back. So I need to put a cushion back here. So if I put a cushion back here, my feet are now touching the ground, okay? Another alternative to that, if you can't fix this way, is put a book under your feet. If I put a book under my feet are now weight bearing on a book, my arms are on the armrest, and my back has some support. This is now creating this nice upward and supporting position, and I've now modified what the issues are. So that's how we can manage in this one. But this one's not my chair. But it might be what you have as a scenario. This one's my chair. It goes up and down. I'm not really in my chair long enough to worry about arm support, but you might be, okay? So first, let's support the back. My feet are firmly on the ground. If they're not, I can put my foot up here to get good support at the pelvis. I'm all the way back in my chair. I have the pillow roll behind my back. Notice how that brings me with my shoulder over my hip, okay? Versus without this, I just kind of sink into it. You see how much I really start to curve and just kind of slump into the chair. So this makes a big difference. If you realize that you really want those arm supports, but you don't have one, you could take a pillow roll. A dish towel works really well for this. Slide it up and under your arm, like this. What's going to happen is the muscles up here will start to rest, and they won't be up here anymore. They will just start to relax. If you don't want to use that, towel works really well too. Stick a towel under both arms, like this. So here, you might have seen, I went from here, and my shoulders eased down like this. So now I really don't need an armrest at all. Now my shoulders are completely supported. Those muscles in my neck, the upper traps that are usually really tight, are completely relaxed. So now my arms are kind of free floating, and I can type very easily. But now that brings a different problem. If I were sitting here, and I have this lumbar support, look at the position of my wrists. They're kind of angled up. So this isn't the best position for my particular computer. And it's harder if you have a laptop because you cannot separate the screen from the typing portion. So the screen should really be up here. This is where my keyboard should be. So my wrists could be nice and neutral. And they do make this kind of component if your desk doesn't have one to pull out that you can attach as well. The screen itself, however, I'm looking a little too low as those pictures showed. I would almost want my screen more here. But again, I can't do that because of where the typing is, component is. But you want to be looking at the top third of your screen. And the reason for that is your eyes will scroll up about that third to the top third, and your eyes will scroll down to the bottom 2/3 without having to really move your head. You don't have to do a lot of this. Okay, so if your screen is in the right position, you don't have to have this position all day long, or this. Most people aren't looking too far up. Now, if you don't have a desk that raises, and most people don't, you can just slide a few books underneath. Everybody's got an old biology book or a phone book, or go to a bookstore. You can always raise it up like this. You can put it on a box, fill a shoebox with newspaper, bind it off with some duct tape. It's not pretty, but it's functional. And you can raise your computer until it is the right height. All right. Other tools that are really helpful in a home office, or even your office space in the real office, a headset phone. So you often see people, sorry, it's my calculator, but with a phone like this, and they're doing this. Terrible on your neck, terrible on your shoulder. If you're going to be on the phone for a long time, a headset phone, okay? Gives you maneuverability, you don't have to take it off, or an earbud, that works fine too. Those are good tools to have. You want your work set up in a manner that you can reach things on your desk that you use on a normal basis closest to you. So I don't need my stapler right here if I'm not going to use it, okay? Or like for me, I have a 3-hole punch under here. If you're going to use a filing cabinet on a routine basis, I don't want that filing cabinet behind me if I'm not on a chair that's a swivel chair. It's fine if I use it on a routine basis, but I don't want to be turning, and rotating my back to get back here. I want to be on a swivel chair so I can get to it. Do when you're working at your computer is to change your position as often as you can. Get up, go to the water cooler, go get a drink, go to the bathroom. You're working at home, change the laundry, stretch, take the dog for a walk. But standing is another great option. Burns a little bit more calories as well. So I'm going to have our photographer come in. You can see the little stand that I am using for mine, and that is this one. Is the Wetno adjustable screen stand. And you can use that when you're sitting on the couch, which is good for using a laptop. But there are all sorts of other commercial devices out there as well. Like these small tables, if you're going to be using a laptop, even something like this, which is a breakfast tray, excellent. So when you're standing, just like we were talking about before, I need the height of this so I am looking at the screen, at the top portion of the screen. Ideally, I would like the screen even up here so that visually I am gazing at the top third of that screen. Here I'm still looking down. But this is still better to stand here and work for 10 or 15 minutes every hour in this position than to stay seated the entire time. This was like $35 online. So worth it. Because again, I can use this on the couch if I needed to and not be slumped over like most of us are when we're on the couch. And let's be real. Every one of us takes our laptop to the couch, sits like this with her feet up. So that's only compounding all the problems that we really don't want to have. All right, so if you have any questions about these modifications, give us a call at the Gentle Place and we'll help you out. Have a good day.